And as you notice, this is a workshop. A workshop means that I'm going to present a concept and I'm going to give you a strategy, and then we're going to work on the strategy together to create a piece that you can use for internships, jobs, volunteer work, whatever. Uh-oh. Presentation up here. Okay, so most people look at a resume as an outline of all the things you've done and all the tasks that you've done for each job, right? And then typically you look at a cover letter as an introduction to the resume. Well, I'd like to change that whole mindset and talk more about using the resume and cover letter and interviews to sell yourself, because that's what it is. It's a marketing tool. And it's very similar to a product in the sense that, again, you're selling yourself, but you're not selling features, you're selling what we call competencies. And I'm going to talk a little bit about competencies. So to kind of illustrate my point, I literally just Googled Apple. You know, everyone knows Apple, right? Everyone knows their products. So I Googled their mission statement, and this is what it says. Apple's mission statement is to bring the best user experience to our customers through our innovative hardware, software, and services. They don't say anything at all about we sell phones, we sell iPads, we sell computers, right? They're providing the best user interface. So that's what they're selling. And so if I were creating a resume for Apple, say I wanted to expand into another country. I was Apple, I wanted to go to some country, they're everywhere, but some new country. This is what my resume would look like. I would say, I provided the best user experience to customers. So that's what I did through innovative products. That's how I did it. And then I increased profits by gazillion dollars over the past year. So that's the outcome. That's the value that I can provide to you. Another example, design leading edge hardware and software. That's what they did to maintain customer loyalty. Maintain customer loyalty is kind of really what, and they design hardware and software for how. And then they maintained customer base of 95%. So that's kind of the outcome. That's the value that they're providing. Okay, competencies. So obviously you are not a product and you're not selling features. Although Wanda says that I have beautiful hair and I could promote that, but that's not really selling, right? A competency is what a person sells. A competency is what you use to demonstrate your value. And there's an organization out there, it's called NACE, the National Association of Colleges and Employers. And this is an aggregate of employers and universities and colleges. They get together, a sampling, and they make a determination of what they want to see in graduates. So employers say, and these are the big guys, as well as the little guys. The employers get together and they say, we want our students, or our new hires, to have at least some of these 8 career competencies: critical thinking, oral, written communications, teamwork, digital technology, leadership, professionalism, work ethic, career management. Career management is you know what you want and you know if you align with what an employer is looking for. And then global intercultural fluency. So this is like you speak another language, you are very in tune with other cultures. Okay, so all of these, and some of these are innate, some of these are natural. Some of these are things that you learn throughout your years before Pacific, but a lot of them you're going to learn at Pacific. And actually, we build Pacific University as a whole, builds in these competencies into your classwork. And these are called transferable skills. So a transferable skill is something that you learned prior, or again, is innate, and you're transferring that skill or that competency to a job. So if I were looking for a new job, which I'm not, I could say, I help students create powerful resumes, cover letters, and applications for graduate school and to find jobs. But that doesn't really say anything about my value. So I could reword that. It's about the same number of words. And I could say, I teach students to realize and improve their marketability by using empathy, creativity, and communication skills. And then I can follow that up by saying, I strive to help 10 students per month. So you can emphasize your skills in your what we call value points. It's not bullet points, it's value points. Okay, that's kind of an aside here. Don't ever lie on a resume. Don't ever or stretch the truth on a resume or cover letter. I'm sure you wouldn't, but it's really important not to do that. If you don't have every skill that the job is looking for, that's okay. If you have half of those, that apply for the job, that's fine. And so when you get into that interview and you write your cover letter, you're going to emphasize the skills that you're really good at, right? And then the ones that maybe you're not so great at, you'll say, that's what I'm working on this. This is a skill that I'm a little bit weaker in, but I'm working on it, doing this, and this. So for instance, I suck at digital technology. So my competency there is very weak, but I have other competencies that are very strong. So in an interview, I may say, I recognize that technology is not a strength of mine, but I'm working on it in this, and this way. Yeah, okay. A couple more examples and then you guys are gonna let you loose and Wanda is gonna help me. Okay, let's see. So another example, this I took out of a book actually. First one here. This is a person that does those tours on campus. You probably see them, they walk backwards and they have, the families following them and they show them around campus. So this is for a person that does that. Lead tours around the entire campus, traveling on bikes and buses, and provide information sessions before each tour where discussion occurs and prospective students, parents, and interested others. What are they saying? They're just saying, okay, I did this, pretty vague. What's the value of what you're doing? How exactly what do you talk to parents about? How exactly are you adding anything to that position? And so I call that, or this book that I refer to calls that stuck in the what. It just means, yeah, you're describing what you did, but as an employer, why do I care? And so let's look at that same exact thing and reword it. How about this? Promote university by communicating history. So that's what they're talking about, and traditions during tours offered to over 200 prospective students per week. So now you're quantifying it. You're saying, okay, I actually am meeting with a lot of students every week. So it's not, one or two students. This is a good amount of students. And so I can picture that as an employer. I can see, well, yeah, that would be valuable to me, that you can communicate information to people on a wide range of topics. And I can go over these other examples if you want, but you get it. Okay, so this is something that I learned over break, I read this book called Who Logic, and I have it here if you want to take a look. So Who Logic breaks everything, and this is for resumes, this is for cover letters, this is for interviews, all of it down into 3 different steps. So the framework is, first, you choose the experience that you want to include on your resume. And this can be anything. It can be jobs, internships, your civic engagement project, your research project, service learning, volunteering, whatever. It's something at your church. So you choose the experience, and then you write down one task that you've done. We're going to practice this, so you don't need to take any notes. And then you choose all the tasks related to that experience, and you write those down. And then you evaluate your experiences by applying this who logic. And I'm going to explain that. So who, W stands for what. What did you do? What's the project you did? What's the task you did? H is how. How did you do the work? What skills and what methods did you use to make that effective? And then O is outcomes. So how many people are we talking about? What kind of increase in profit are we talking about? There's a million different outcomes, and I have a slide for that. So what can you offer the company? What can you transfer from your skills to the other company or the job posting? Okay. So again, refresher. W, what was the task? What was the project you worked on? H, how did you do it? What skills did you use that you can transfer? And O is outcomes. What was the value of what you did? What was the results or the contribution or the intention for the company? All right, just 2 more examples, and then we're going to practice this ourselves. Okay, so before who, this person was responsible for social media. We have that new major, sports communications. This is something that they could say, I was responsible for the social media at the Blazers or whatever. But how about this for a more powerful statement? Built social media presence, that's what they did, using coupons and time-sensitive campaigns, deployed Google Analytics, that's a technology that's saying you have the technology, you can organize a schedule, and then what was the outcome? To measure traffic, increase sales by 25% within 6 months of launch. One example. One more example. Analyze food insecurity data for urban centers across the United States. So this is not a profit-driven company. This is some type of social service, right? But you can still quantify. So what did you do? You analyzed food insecurity data. How? Using a federal database and advanced Excel formulas. And what was the outcome? To pinpoint risk factors, and they developed 12 recommendations for 53 urban centers across the US. So again, you're not talking money here. You're talking about reach. Okay, now does everyone have those sheets in front of you? Okay. On the front, we're going to have you guys practice this, and you can take this with you. So on the front of the sheet, you're going to write down what the task was, and you're going to say what skills you used during that task, and then what was the outcome. And we're going to help with this. So I'll walk around and help with this. So as an example, you train new hires, maybe. So maybe you worked at Dutch Bros. So I just made up this one. You train new hires. You use these skills, leadership, team commitment, collaboration, role modeling, to train over 20 new hires. And then all you got to do is put it in a sentence. So basically, you're just going to write down those simple things. What was the task? What skills did you use? And then what was the outcome? And then you just put it together by using the words by and to in between to make a sentence. So this is what we call a value point. Instead of a bullet point, we call it a value point. And what I did was I gave you a bunch of examples on the back of your sheet. So you have this on the front, you have this on the back, and then you have a sheet to help you get going. So if you think that maybe you use communication skills, great. So here's some words that you can use that would maybe get you going on a sentence. Okay, and here's some sample outcomes that I'll leave up. So it's 1:17. So at 1:30, just 10 minutes, let's work on that for a little bit and then I'll go over cover letters. And by the way, the resume is super, super important because it's the foundation to everything else you do. And more importantly is that it forces you to analyze yourself so that when you do go in for that interview, when you do write that cover letter, you can say, this is what I offer. These are the skills that I offer you. And your job says this, 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 and this. We align. So that's what the resume is more, in my mind, it's more of a tool for you to understand yourself so that you can talk about it. It's actually really fun when you get going on it. And again, there's examples on the back if you are having trouble getting close. Oh, and what if you've never had a job? That's okay. You can still use the same exact format for everybody has specific case. Everybody that graduates high school, most high school, they'll get some kind of curriculum. Again, you work it at the church on project. Right. The research project may not be there yet, but that's another thing. Okay. It's cool. Yeah, so you know what we can still do that here. You can still do that, just got to be concise. And then the cover letter you can speak. And I'm going to talk about cover letter. So, yeah. So Oh, yeah. And it is hard. I mean, this is the hardest part. That's why we're focusing. And this is what you're going to build everything out on. This is just the experience actually of your resume. I have a bunch of resources for formats and checklists and all that. But this is kind of the meat of the resume. It's going to be the meat of your interview. It's going to be the meat of your cover letter. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Okay, can we just move on to cover letters real quick? Okay, so a cover letter just basically shows, like I said, how what you're offering matches with the job opening, how you align. So let's go back to my example. What I said was that I taught students to realize and improve their marketability by using empathy, creativity, and communication skills. So now in the cover letter, I'm going to take those 3 skills and I'm going to make a story. So I'm going to say, I used my empathy, creativity, and what was it? And communication skills by one thing that I did was I was in international programs, and I helped some underserved students find affordable programs to go to abroad. That's true. So that's what I would put in a cover letter. And then when I get to an interview, I would say, oh yeah, I did this with this group of students, and I'll give a very specific situation on how I know what I did affected the students that I worked with. And that's very true. That's a very good example of, I know that we increased our participation with the underserved population. And I'm not saying I did everything, but I can attribute it to my work. Okay. Oh, let me just mention this. So this is kind of an exercise you can go through. You can choose a job posting on Handshake. Just anything, say you want to go be research biologist. Type that into the Google search, into the Handshake search. And then you can use this word cloud. There's several of them out there. And you can actually literally copy and paste the job posting into this word cloud and see what words come up the most. It's really neat. Or you can just look at the job posting and you can say, okay, yeah, I see that they're looking for this, this, and this. I know I have some of those skills, so I'm going to write about them. Okay, this is the format that I would use. I would say the introduction, it says why you're writing and why you're interested. And I'm going to give you an example of this. Why you're writing and why you're interested. And then you'll have a couple sentences in there, and you'll say the last sentence should always be a preview. You know how they say you have that format when you write essays, where you have the introductory paragraph, and then you have the two supporting paragraphs, and then you have the summary paragraph? Same thing. So your introduction is going to give you a preview and what you're going to talk about in your body. So first you're going to write about why you're interested in that job, and then you're going to end that first paragraph with a preview of what you're going to talk about that you're offering. Then your next paragraph, and this is short. The next paragraph is you're going to pick one skill that you want to talk about, and you're going to give an example. You're going to write a couple of sentences about that and how it's relevant to the job. And then you're going to do that again with a different skill. And then you're going to close. And the closing is super important. You're going to provide a statement on how what you have aligns with the company or the job. So you want to make it easy for the reader to connect the dots. You want to make it easy for me to see, oh yeah, you definitely qualify for this job. Even if it's, 50% of the skills, that's okay. So the closing creates an opportunity for you to assertively share the next steps. Next steps is, okay, this is how to contact me. I'm really interested in talking further about how I met your job. And then you just thank them and tell them to, ask them to review the rest. Let me show you an example. Okay, I know it looks like a ton of words. I just want to point out a couple of things. So literally what I did was I put in Handshake marketing intern. And this is the first job that came up. So I just took it and I pasted it in here. So this happens to be Amazon, and they're looking for planning, executing, and measuring the performance of marketing campaigns for Amazon's business. Okay, blah, blah, blah. They talk about what they want. And then at the bottom, they have these qualifications. Ability to think and act strategically. Ability to deal with ambiguity. So when things change on the fly, can you handle it? Solid organizational skills, time management, communication skills, problem solving, blah, blah, blah. You're not going to have all of these. You're not going to be super strong in all of these, but you're going to be super strong in at least a few of them. And so I wrote a cover letter for this particular job. Every cover letter you write has to be for a specific job. And I know it sounds like a ton of work, but if you know yourself, it's easy to then align with the job. And if you can't figure out how you can possibly align with what the job posting is, you're not right for that job. So I'll just read you what I put for my cover letter. And again, this is totally made up. I am writing to express my interest in the marketing internship with Amazon. Okay, I'm telling them what I'm applying for. I discovered the position on Handshake and am impressed with the reviews from past Amazon marketing interns. So I'm just telling them, yeah, I found it on Handshake and I'm interested because I saw great reviews. I am confident that my understanding of digital marketing, my creative initiative, and my flexibility align well with this unique role. So I'm telling the reader, that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about my creative initiative, my flexibility, and digital marketing skills, which I don't have. And so I'm going to go through one story. This is my first value point. In a recent work study position, I learned to leverage social media, blah, blah, blah. And so then the last sentence I say, this has prepared me to help drive business at Amazon and to provide management with a summary of the results. So you're telling them point blank, this is the skill I have, and this is how I can help you. Then I did that for the second one as a business club officer at Pacific. So I'm not using all jobs. I'm using clubs and other things. As a business club officer at Pacific, I played a key role in initiating an AMA chapter. AMA is American Marketing Association, and established strategic goals for the club. Through this experience, I learned how to set goals, assign appropriate tasks to these goals, and organize a system to track completion. And then the result of that was our team launched this local AMA chapter during COVID, where we had to deal with uncertainty. And I learned how to create a plan B for several of these goals. And then I'm telling him, how does this relate to you? These important skills would serve you well in the role at Amazon. That's kind of weak, but that's the point. You want to wrap it up. And then this is the most important paragraph. Amazon values strategic thinking, flexibility, and the ability to thrive in uncertain times. You read that job posting. I know from reading that you read the job posting. You understand what the job is. And then through my college experiences in marketing at Pacific and an officer of the business club, which you already told them, I have shown that I have all of these qualities. I'm excited to grow and learn at Amazon. I welcome the opportunity to interview for this role with Amazon and invite you to contact me at your number. Yeah? Is this making sense? Yes? Okay. All right. So I'm going to wrap up, and then I'm happy to help people with this. I'm going to wrap this up with a bunch of resources. So if you're worried about format, then you can go to resume examples. These are all hot links. You go to resume examples, and these, I can send you the presentation. If you're looking for a checklist to make sure you got everything on the resume, you go to resume checklist. Resume enhancing words, that's kind of like what I gave you with a list of a bunch of different words. And then cover letter resources. So there's your format help. Questions? Yeah. Yes. So the question is, can we access the resources somewhere? Absolutely. On our website, well, there's two ways you can do it. I can send you this presentation and you can link to it. The second way is if you go and in the Pacific website, if you Google career resources, you'll get our website that shows you these career resources. The only one it doesn't have is, I don't think it has the who cover letters. I can load that up, or like I said, I'm happy to send you the presentations. And again, these are all hot links. If anybody is interested in the book, I have the book up here. You can peruse through it. I think it's like $16 on Amazon. If you want to get it, it'll give lots of examples and also interview tips and things like that. This is just a book that I'm kind of hot on right now. So useful for me, maybe useful for you. Questions? Okay, so I know that it's short. We still have, I don't know how long we have, 5 minutes. So feel free to hang out and work a couple letters. I'm here to help you. I'm also here, let me put up my information. So this is my email. If you email me, I can work one-on-one with you. My goal, like I told you, was to work with 10 students a month, which is pretty aggressive. But spread the word, and I'm more than happy to